pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brenda, would you do roll call, please?
Certainly. President Klein-Jerome?
Here.
Vice President Postian?
Here.
Director Barnes?
Here.
Director Beck?
Here.
Director Hayes?
Here.
Director Ward?
Here.
Director Potts is absent.
Thank you. Director Ward, would you please read the mission and vision statement?
The Davenport Community School District is dedicated to growing excellence in academics, the arts, and athletics for every child by ensuring the highest quality education in an environment shaped by our diverse community, preparing our students to be lifelong learners and productive citizens. The vision statement is education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in global society, and inspires our students, parents, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Thank you. Director Barnes, would you please read the guiding principles?
Yes, guiding principles. Opportunity. We provide abundant opportunities to empower students to reach their full potential academically, creatively, and socially. Collaboration. We foster an environment that allows students, families, and community stakeholders to come together for the betterment of our students' education and future. Transparency. We share relevant and important information with our students, families, and the community to maintain open and productive communication.
Thank you. Kevin, would you read the goal tie-in?
Yes, tonight's goal tie-in is number 1, enhance student learning.
Thank you. Next up is recognitions. Turned over to Athletic Director Dave Shevlin. And we are going to flip 1 and 2. Is that correct? Yep. Unified Sports Recognition will be first, followed by the Spring Athletics Celebration.
Thank you. Again, thank you very much for allowing us the time today to celebrate what we are very proud of here in Davenport. We have 2 presentations for you tonight. We have one with the Unified Champion Program, which will have someone step up. Stephanie will step up and go through a brief presentation for you, and then we'll celebrate our spring sports recognition honorees as well. So, as always, very busy, and now we add summer to it. Monday is a conference game, so we do have lots of kids playing baseball and softball today that we can't really reschedule around that. That's been set for a while. So, got a nice crowd here. But we will be honoring those that aren't able to attend as well. So, as I said before, we're going to go ahead and start with our Unified Champions program. We work hard to produce or provide opportunities for all our students to use sports as a way of bettering themselves and bettering the whole community. I think being involved in the relationships that sports can bring is essential to being successful. So we want to provide those opportunities for all, and I think this program does an outstanding job of making sure that happens. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome up Stephanie Reagan, and she will go through a presentation for you in regards to our Unified Champions.
Thank you very much. All right, so I'm Stephanie Reagan. I'm a school counselor at Davenport West High School, and I'm also in charge of the Falcon Friends Club, which is a club made up of students with and without disabilities, and we do a lot of fun things. Let's see. Is there a clicker to move from the next slide, or who's presenting that? Oh, you're doing it for me? Okay, thank you. So as you can see here, these are from West High School, so we have a lot of athletes and quite a few unified partners that have participated within our unified sports. And we do have an athlete with us today. We have Isabella Hausman, if you wouldn't mind standing up for us for a moment. And then we have Noah Curtis and Ashton Leitner. If you guys want to stand up. We did invite all students, but I'm so glad that these 3 came today to the meeting, so thank you for coming. And these are our unified partners and then our athlete. And we did really had a lot of fun this year. Thank you, guys. So as you can see up there, for West High School, our athletes and our unified partners, there's 40 students that are mentioned up there. And the unified sports that we did were golf and bowling this year. And then these are the students also. They also do this programming at North High School, and there's their athletes and unified partners. Is anyone from North here tonight? Yep, we have someone from North. Would the person from North like to stand? Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Okay, and something special about Davenport West High School is that we are the only high school in the state of Iowa that is a National Banner Unified Champion school, and we received this recognition a few years ago, and it's because we have met the requirements, which we participate in unified sports. We do monthly meetings of the Unified Falcon Friends Club, and every year we participate in the Inclusion Week activities where we promote whole school engagement. So we try to get the whole school involved and at least let them know about Inclusion Week and why inclusion is important. And here's a group picture of before after this year when we did unified golfing. So there's a big group of students up there from West High School, and you can see they have their medals after the event of golf. And we always golf so far at Red Hawk. We do the 3-hole event that they have there, and it's about a 3-par for each hole. It's very nice. And then here's a few other pictures of our unified athletes and our unified partners. You can see them working on golfing together and some of them with their medals afterwards. Here's a few other pictures of our participants, and the police officer that was there was super friendly and the kids loved seeing him there. And then here's North High School. They're known as the Cat Crew. There's a group picture of them. And then here's some action shots of the North High School students, unified partners and athletes. And then our second unified sport we did was unified bowling. So this is a group picture of the participants, the athletes, and the partners. And I think some of the students here are pictured in there. Yep. And then here's some action shots of them participating in the bowling event itself. And there's other schools that are there with us when we're participating. So it's neat to see partners and athletes from other schools also there. Here's another action shot of the West High School Unified Falcon Friends up there. It's really a lot of fun. It's great to bring friendship and leadership, and it really promotes inclusion, and it's a great way to feel connected to school. And something brand new to us this year is that with DeWitt High School at West High School, we had a bags tournament. So it was all of the DeWitt students that do unified sports came to West High School in our gym, and we competed against each other in bags. So that was a lot of fun. Here's some action shots of the students participating in bags. For DeWitt, since they're a small school, they actually had 3rd through 12th grade there with us. We were just 9th through 12th. And then both West and North got invited. We both participated in the Unified Sports Day at TBK. It was the first time ever Special Olympics offered this to us. And we got to do a series of different stations of sports together, a unified fashion, and it was really a lot of fun. So there's a group picture of West. Here's some action shots of us. We got to do soccer, basketball, pickleball. We got to do it was very super fun. What is it?
It's like the parachute.
Yes, the parachute. I think that was everyone's favorite, was the parachute. That was a lot of fun. And then here's North High School. Here's their group that was there. And here's some action shots of North High School. They also had the broad jump and some volleyball. And it was so fun that they had volunteers at all of the different stations. So kids got exposure to a lot of different sports that they may not have ever tried before. And they also did it with the support of their unified partner too the whole time. And there's a few other action shots of students from North High School. All right, so I'll go ahead and give the presentation over to Arafel Swords to speak about Special Olympics basketball.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. This is the second year that I've gotten to come and talk about our unified partners as well as the Special Olympics that we do. So there are some parts of unified sports that we can't do with our gen ed partners. Basketball is one of them. It just doesn't have a unified team associated with it. So we had 2 teams that went and did basketball. We did their regional, and then we also qualified for state. I think a number of the pictures that we put on here are going to be the state tournament that we did. And so they are doing a 3-on-3 tournament in both of the regional and the state. So we had a higher group and a lower group. Special Olympics also offers a skills competition that are it's like 7 to 9 skills that athletes have to display mastery of, and then they get scored on it. We don't do that, but it's very neat to see. So we have them playing games. Go ahead. And then we had a number of them, just playing and posing. Yeah. The nice thing about this Special Olympics, which is different from when I think we do the unified or some of the other sports, is that we're able to go onto the court and assist them, because basketball is a really hard sport to do all by yourself. So we get to have coaches out there supporting the students as they play. So the other thing I'd like to highlight, since it all kind of ties in, is that West is also now offering a unified PE that pulls in our gen ed partners into a class that isn't a special ed class, but more of a unified class. And we get to practice a lot of these sports. And I hope that in the next year, we're going to be able to add a number of unified and Special Olympic sports to the agenda that we get to participate in.
Thank you. Anybody have a comment or a question? And then, but my question is, Josh, do you have a phone to take our picture? Okay. So don't leave yet, because we like to have a picture with the school board. So. Okay. Question, Director Beck.
So I know that West has done really well with the unified sports, and I see that North now is participating a little. What are the plans for potentially, like, the PE class sounds awesome, expanding that to North or Central, or?
So without being one of our higher up district people who pushes these agendas, I believe that the plan is to have all of the high schools have a unified PE class that hopefully will do what we're doing, and everything will start blending together. I think that some of the issue is size of the programs, and some of it is scheduling, and some of it is, do we have people to do that? I know the district used to have Special Olympics that they did, like somebody did it for all of the schools, and we all came together as one. And that was about a decade ago. And then that person ended up moving to a different state who ran that. So the hope is that everybody has a unified PE, because it's wonderful. We were just talking, me and my paras, because I am one of the ID teachers over at West, that this was the first year where it felt like the kids were bombarded with friends in the hallway, from our Falcon friends, from our unified PE friends, and it was so refreshing to see them truly integrated into those social situations with their gen ed peers.
That's amazing to hear, and thank you so much for all the effort that you guys put into this program, and thank you to our partners and athletes as well, those who are here and those who are not.
Anybody else? Question, comment? Okay, we'd like to have a picture, so anybody who is part of the unified program, either on either side, the athletic or partner,
again, what a great program. I think the one highlight of the whole thing is just that word unified. And sometimes we think it's only supporting one group. When we have projects, both sides of the coin really end up with such a rewarding, enriching experience to be able to work together for a common goal. So I think it's an outstanding program, becoming more and more familiar with it in my new role here, and looking forward to have that expand into North and Central as well. So looking to really grow that. I know Stephanie has done a great job and was a big resource for me learning as it went too. So very proud of that group. So now I'd like to switch over to our spring athlete celebration. All right. Stepping into this role in July, I challenged a lot of our leaders. And when I say this, I really wanted the team approach and how to do this, because one person can't run an athletic program at a building or at a district level. So if you can go ahead and skip. So one of the ideas that I made sure I threw at them is whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And that's 100% true. And I believe challenging our leaders to pass that down, to believe in yourself. You can't train appropriately if you don't believe in what you're doing. You cannot really succeed unless you believe in what you're doing. And I believe that you're going to hear the people that were celebrating the dead, they believe. They believe they can do it. And why is that? Because they did it. And that's why they're sitting here. So very proud of them. Looking forward to that growing. Looking forward to them kind of being the pillar for us, the role models as we move forward. And looking forward to those coaches continuing to improve, to challenge those athletes to believe in themselves at a younger age, train, get better, and then they're moving into the high schools at the level where they should be, and not just a couple of them. So we want more and more as we go. So I did want to share a little bit about our middle school season, and track is really the only one that we have in the spring for middle schools. We have other sports. We kind of looked at those in our last presentation. This year, we're up 60 kids in our track program. Great problem, but also transportation problem, which is a good deal, that we have to get multiple buses to go to events, to Brady Street. Outstanding. I believe the hard work of that last quote that I challenged our athletic kind of administration team down there, get people involved, because if we get them involved, we can find something they're good at. Track provides that opportunity, and they really did that. And just to mention, seeing the city meet. If you came to the city meet, I know I saw, I believe Mr. Poston, you were there at the city meet. It was very well attended. It was very well ran, and our kids did very well. And one thing that was super inspiring to me was we had one of our coaches, and I asked him he doesn't want to be named, but if you're there, you'll see him. He had a girl run the 200-meter dash, and he ran with her right next to her. She didn't win, but she finished and did better than she ever has. And the smile and the accomplishment she felt when she crossed the finish line with her coach standing there out of breath with her, I was out of breath watching them both run. And he was step for step with her, cheering her on, encouraging her. And those types of things help people believe in themselves. And when they believe in themselves, they're going to achieve. And that young lady will be out next year. She was a 7th grader. She'll be out next year simply for that act alone. She's going to remember that. And she appreciated it. So hats off to those coaches that do that. Hats off to the administrators that run that. They're not administrators. They're teachers that run the athletic department. And we support that, but they do a great job and take a lot of pride in getting in the hallways and talking to kids and getting them involved, that I look forward to another big year of growth like we had this year in the middle school. So a huge pat on the back for those athletes. Also in middle school track, they have what's called the McCutcheon Relays, which is you have to qualify for. And we take our top runners and we go over and run against Bettendorf and PV and all the MAC schools. We finished 3rd in all 3 divisions, which is pretty remarkable because we do just take our top runners, so it isn't like we can take in track. It's important. You can score a lot of points by running multiple kids in events. So we look at that as an honor. They took that as an honor, and that's why that city meet is so special. and they did very well when they showed out at Bettendorf that afternoon. So very proud of them. Ultimately, leading the middle school is we're going to lead that into our high schools, and our high school athletic directors are all here today to share their successes, and we have some athletes with us. So we'll go ahead and start with West and Michelle Lillis, and she can step up and talk about the springtime at West High School.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for sharing our celebrations with us, and we're so happy to be here. And we have some pretty special celebrations from West to share with you. I'd like to give a shout out, though, to the Unified people. You guys do a great job. I have the pleasure of seeing them and seeing the PE class and seeing the Unified sports, and it is great fun, and it's great for the kids. So great job, I want to say to all of you. Could I have come up front, Coach Schlichting? We have the one sport. We have very high honors in that sport, and I thought it would be best to have a coach from that team speak about these great young men. So Florent, could you come up? And Brady, could you come up? And Nolan, could you please come up and stand in the front? Coach Schlichting.
Good evening. Thanks for having us tonight. Congratulate everybody that's here. All these student athletes competing in sports. It's just, it's what it's about. Because you got to compete in life, so you get out there in the field or the court, and you're competing out there. So we had a good group of kids this year. We had 3 kids that excelled. First up, Florent Amagatsa. Did I say close? All right. I just said, can it be like Cher or Madonna, Florent? But okay. He was a hurdler for us. He did a good job. He got better and better throughout the year. And Coach Brody is our hurdlers coach. And as you can see, we had 2 hurdlers qualify for state. And I think Brady Bells, his companion, was a good mentor for him. And he ended up qualifying for the state tournament. And he got 22nd, and he's only a junior, so he'll be back next year. Good job, Florent. Proud of you. Next up, Brady Bells. He's a senior. He's a heck of an athlete. He did everything for the team, 100, 200, 400, but he really excelled in hurdles. He was a Drake qualifier in hurdles. He was district champion in hurdles, MAC champion in hurdles, first team All-MAC, and he finished 10th up at the state tournament, just missing the top 8, which gets you the medals in the finals. But Brady's an outstanding athlete, good student athlete, and he's going to go on to St. Ambrose and compete for track and field there. Looking forward to see how he does there. The next young man I know a little bit about, Nolan Dempsey. He had one of the best years, I think, in the history of Davenport schools. He's up there with some of the best. Dating back to last year, he was conference champ in disc. He was second in state in discus. This year we came back. He performed very well. He was a Drake qualifier. He was MAC champ in shot and disc, which is not heard of much. That's very difficult to do. He was district champ, runner-up in districts. State tournament, he got 8th place in the shot put, so he got a medal. And then he went on and performed. He executed to perfection to win the class state 4A championship in disc. And he just did an outstanding job. And he's going on to UNI to compete in track and field up there. And just so you know, Davenport West, mostly because of Nolan, beat PV, North Scott, and Bettendorf at the state track meet. All right, there you go. Our thrower, our track athletes, thank you.
Yeah, we want to do a picture at the end with everybody. Coach, thank you. I enjoy hearing the winning part, that's for sure. But the student athlete part is very important of it as well. 3 great young men, and very proud of their accomplishments. It was also a great spring in North at the north side of town, and we have Jeremy Moser here to celebrate some successes that we had on 53rd Street.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. What a great event. What a great time to be here. Congratulations to everyone in attendance. I'm going to talk to you about 2 sports. It's track and soccer. If I could have our state qualifying track athletes come up and join me. Mason and Kobe. Got a couple of you here. Got other people scattered all over the place. This year, on the boys track side, we qualified our 4x200 meter relay, our sprint medley relay, and we had a 400 hurdler qualify individually. Mason Bogan, give everybody a little wave, Mason, and Kobe Worrells were part of those relays. These guys also ran at the Drake relays. Mason is a 4-time Drake relays and state meet qualifier. Congratulations to you. That's quite an accomplishment. In addition, Mason was selected as our male athlete of the year, participated in football and also baseball over his career at North. Congratulations. And Kobe Worrells is going to go play football at Iowa Central. Congratulations, guys. We also had a female qualify in the 400 hurdles, and I'll tell you, it's difficult to run around the track once as fast as you can, and then you're going to throw 10 hurdles out there and say jump over these, and we had 2 400 hurdlers qualify, so that says a lot about those individuals. If you can go to the next slide. Boys soccer. If you build it, they will come, right? I guess, huh? We built the brand new turf field out there. We got to christen it this year, and that group of young men led by Coach Gamble went out and first time in school history won the conference championship, tied with PV and Bettendorf. They finished the year with 12 wins, finished in conference 7 wins, 0 losses, and 2 ties. So quite fantastic. If I could get those boys soccer players and Coach Gamble to come on up here, we'll introduce you to them. Yep, we can go to the next one. Not only did we win the conference championship in boys soccer, but all of these individuals were first team all-conference players. So gentlemen, when I identify you, if you'll give us a little wave. Javier Alvarado. Oh yeah, thanks Derek. Thanks Derek. Javier Alvarado, JC Newsey, Landon Quinn, Derek Galindo, Lance Brock, and Malachi Thornburg couldn't make it tonight. These guys are a fun group to watch. They play soccer a beautiful way. In addition, Javier, if you'll take a step forward, Javier was selected as co-player of the year in the conference. Way to go. And I really like to say this next part, they'll all be back. They'll all be back next year. So, and we cannot forget the architect, the maestro, Coach David Gamble was selected as Conference Coach of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. So congratulations to you, Coach. And hey, we'll look forward to run it back next year. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for letting us be here tonight. Thanks.
I would like to echo also to Coach Gamble, not his first Coach of the Year award in Davenport either. So he wins it wherever he goes. He's a quality individual to have running any program. And I'm super proud to be able to represent him and what he does. And they didn't even bring up the cancer tournament that he runs that bring tears to your eyes, just to watch the amount of organization that goes in, how special that is to him and his cause, and the way the kids embrace that is just, it's second to none. And we have people, they're traveling from Des Moines to play in it. The field made it a little easier with lights. And we were able to showcase our facility and show Des Moines that we do some stuff over here too. So pretty proud of that as we move forward. So great job, Coach. Proud of you. I'd also like to, at this time, invite Kevin Peterson and the Central Blue Devils and share some awards that they've earned.
All right, thank you for having me. I see we have a few athletes and a coach. If you guys want to come up, Logan, Claire, Coach Casillas, come on up, Coach. Like Mr. Shovin said, we have quite a few that are playing baseball and softball, and so they could make it tonight, as well as one of our coaches who you'll see we'll recognize a little later. Neither of these gentlemen are here, but we're going to start with boys soccer. They had a great season. They actually finished right behind the three-peat, or the 3 guys that tied and finished 4th in the conference. So we were right behind the PV, Bettendorf, and North that all tied for the first place. And with that, we were honored to have 2 guys make first team. Actually, the first one was last year's Player of the Year. So the Davenport Schools has the last 2 Player of the Years in the conference for boys soccer. Forward Joey Miniter, who's not here, and then another senior defender, Eric Hayes, for boys soccer. Congratulations to them. Girls soccer. If you haven't got to watch the girls soccer team play, they're pretty exciting to watch. And a lot of it is due to our sisters here, Dylan and Sloan Moeller. They both couldn't make it tonight, but Sloan is a sophomore and Dylan is a senior, and it's not on here, but they have both broken records at Central. So the way it works is Dylan plays center mid and she passes the ball to Sloan and then Sloan scores. So Dylan has broken the record, the all-time and single season record in assists for Davenport Central girls soccer, and Sloan has broken the single season and the all-time goal record for Davenport Central girls soccer. And I know a lot of it because I coached it for about 8 years, and we never had girls near this talented, and I think that has helped them. They also finished right around 4th. There was kind of some ties in there this year, but they had a great season. They got a pretty tough draw in regionals, but played really hard, and it was a good season for them as well. Now on to track. Both of our track teams had a good season this year. We'll start with the girls. At first team all conference for the 3,000 and the 1,500 was Jolie Sullivan. And then for the 800 was Dylan Moeller. And then I really wish she could have made it tonight, but Jolie's playing softball. So Coach Wendy Saw's daughter is Jolie, and Wendy was nominated as the track MAC Coach of the Year this year. So congratulations to all of them for the all conference awards. And then we also had quite a few participate at state. We have some of those here today. On the boys' side, these were the ones that placed that made it a little bit further. On the boys' side, in the 110 hurdles, KJ Wright finished 17th, and he's only a junior, so we'll have him back. On the girls' side, we do have this first one here. If you want to step forward, in the 100 and the 200, Claire O'Melia finished 8th place in the state. Congratulations, Claire. In the 800 meter, Jolie finished 3rd place. In the 1,500 meter, Jolie finished 6th place. And in the 15, they both got to run. Dylan finished 11th place. Next one. And then these were the other participants at the state. Yep, we got some here today. In the 1,600 sprint medley, they finished 19th. If I read your name, step forward. Tyler Ryan, Alex Ingram, Braxton Hellstrom, and you got to help me, man. I don't want to butcher it. Hezekiah Teleferi. I did pretty good. Congratulations. And then our shuttle hurdle relay also finished 19th at the state, and one of those are here. We had KJ Wright, we had Logan Cruz, Caden Phillips, and Benny Jacobson. Congratulations. And on the girls' side for the relays, I can't see those very well. The sprint medley finished 5th place. Nazeta Block, Dylan Moeller, Claire was on that one as well, and Jolie Sullivan. In the 4x800, we finished 7th place with Dylan Moeller, Sloan Moeller, Jolie Sullivan, and Izzy Hansen. Our 4x1 participated, Nazeta Block. Claire was on that one as well. Benny Toko and Jada Boston. And then our 4x200 was Ellie Lanahan, Jada Boston, Benny Toko, and Amaya Dollison. Congratulations to all those girls. We took a lot of good pictures up there. So they may not be here tonight, but you can see them all there. So one more. Once again, thank you for having us tonight, and congratulations to everybody in the district, and especially the Central Blue Devils. Just to kind of conclude our spring celebration here, I would really like, and they're not going to like this, but that's the way it goes. So if Michelle and Jeremy and Kevin could step up here real quick. I could tell you all the time that TJ challenges us to show up together at all of our events and be all for one for kids. And these guys do that and more. And I don't think they get noticed enough. Oh no, you guys got to come up here. So they show up in the mornings,
just like with the students, and then they close it down without the students when everybody and the last kid in the parking lot gets picked up. And that is sometimes forgotten because it's assumed that it happens. It doesn't happen without sacrifice and time. And if they go unnoticed at an event, they did pretty well. And that's hard to do when you invest that much time and that much sacrifice into something to not be noticed because your event ran positive and you brought home trophies. So I know they're going to be mad, but they'll have a week of not talking to me, and that's fine. But I'd like to give these three a big round of applause for what they've done. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Give myself a little credit, and I know Mason, you're still here. I'm going to take all of Mason's credit because I was his youth basketball coach. And that's why he's such a great athlete in everything he does, except he didn't play basketball. So we won't mention that one, how that went. But no, it's great to see the faces as they grow. I've been here long enough to see them come into games, running around, being told to sit down in the stands, and now we're celebrating them. So just the last thought, success is a way of life, not a goal. We don't want to stop there. We want to be happy and celebrate, but at the same time, we want to go back to work using their model of success and building on it. So hopefully we can next year drag our presentation on for another couple hours, and you can celebrate more and more athletes as we do. So one last thing I didn't mention, Wendy Shaw couldn't be here tonight. She was also in her first year. She was coach of the year in cross country as well. So she's a two-time coach of the year in the same season, which tells you that kind of dedication it takes. Again, as a mentor for young people, she's one of the best. So having Coach Gamble here today and Coach Shaw is invaluable to what we're trying to do within our athletics program here at North. So with that being said, I would ask all the athletes that are still here, please come forward for our picture. And great job this year.
Say a quick comment too, if you want to make notice that the sprint men for Central broke a 41-year school record this year at state. So.
Okay, let me. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah. What was it? There was one record that we missed, and it was.
Davenport Central girls broke a 41-year-old school record at state for the sprint medley, better known as your distance medley this year. So.
Thank you.
Are they going to be doing the Brady Street sprints?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to root for our high schools. My question is, you said that 60 more students in middle school track. Does that include sixth graders?
It does not. It's seventh and eighth graders. Sixth grade is not allowed to. Sixth grade is not allowed to compete because of the state says it can be only seventh and eighth grade for the sanctioned sport. So you can't have a school sport of sixth graders. And I know that actually has come up as they talk about eighth graders playing varsity sports legislation wise. I think that would trickle down to sixth grade, but it has not yet. So we're looking to do that actually, to have a piece of that city tournament have some sixth grade portions of it. And I know they used to when I was the AD back in the 2010-ish area, that they did have a sixth grade team compete with that. But that's something we're going to be addressed as we go through next year with our feeder program. So.
Yeah, even if it's like a clubbed that they
Correct.
had, and then let them compete.
Right, one time. Yep.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't have another school involved, we can do that. So the city meet is a perfect opportunity to do that. We can't, if any other member school is involved, we can't have sixth graders participate.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody else have a question, comment?
Just what you were talking about, I would sure encourage that we try to get more some participation with the sixth graders and get them involved at an earlier age. And we're also talking about students that maybe don't have the opportunities that other students have, just from an economic standpoint. And so I think if we can get the sooner we can get these kids involved, the better off they're going to be, and the better off the athletic teams are going to be.
And I believe I have the opportunity to come back in a couple weeks and discuss kind of the plan, because we do have something. I have something in mind that we're going to go ahead and kick off in the fall. So not just in track, but across the board, keeping people involved with some community partners.
Go ahead.
And I think this is, an area where as a school district, we can excel. I mean, with track, you've got a lot of kids involved. Also, I think soccer is a place where we could excel and get a lot of numbers involved, because it takes numbers for both to field a full track team and a soccer team.
It does. And actually at North High School, Coach Campbell left, we actually had so many kids out that were quality. We actually added a schedule, which we called JV2, to provide those kids opportunities to play. Because we don't, we want everybody, you don't know when they're 15, 16-year-old individuals what they're going to turn out to be. And if they have interest and they're committed, and we made that happen for them at North High School, and the facilities allowed for it, where in the past they did not.
Sorry to butt in again, but especially with soccer, I don't see any reason why we can't have a freshman team, a JV team, and a varsity team. I know that takes more coaches, but I think you just get a lot of numbers as far as involvement, and that's what our kids need. They need to be involved.
Agreed. The biggest challenge with that is, who do you play? And we're doing well in our boys soccer numbers, but the only other place we could play was Pleasant Valley at this point. Kind of like our girls athletic numbers across the state of Iowa have truly decreased, and what they have done is they've made it JV varsity. And I don't agree with that, but at the same time, the numbers and who you're having to play kind of, so some of that is out of our hands, but providing that opportunity, I 100% agree, is essential. And if we got to go find teams, we go find teams.
Thank you very much. Next up, Davenport School Museum, Sue Berger.
Good evening. My name is Susan Berger, and I volunteer at the Davenport School Museum, located right in this building. Our director, Sherry Roberts, is also here. We want to thank you for inviting us for this presentation in celebrating Iowa Museum Week. The background of our museum starts in 1960 with Mary Baker. She was a graduate of Davenport Schools. She completed the teacher training program and taught, including time as an administrator, for 44 years, beginning in 1916. When she retired in 1960, and I swear she saved everything in her attic, she started the Davenport Area Retired Teachers Association and thought it would be a good idea to have a history center. That ended up consisting of a donated display case located in a hallway in the administration building that was on Harrison Street next to Central High. Over the years, she, the Retired Teachers Association, and Bob McHugh, who was a principal and later a school board member, and he saved a lot of stuff too, campaigned for a permanent center, a museum. In 1976, the school board, in conjunction with the Davenport Retired Teachers Association, approved the establishment of a museum. There was one spare room in this building while it was still a school, and that's where it began. Needless to say, that room was needed for a classroom, so it was moved to temporary storage in a horse barn. Now, I've only seen one reference to that, so I'm a little bit iffy on that. But from there, it went from there to what was the vocational center on Kimberly Road. When that was remodeled in about 1996, the museum was packed up and stored at the Brady Street Stadium until 2002, when it reopened on the lower level of the previous administration building on Brady Street. The move here to the J.B. Young building was made in 2018 when this building became the administration center. There may have been another stop in this building while it was still a school and while it was stored at the stadium, but those dates are a little bit fuzzy. We are a unique museum. Due to our size and location, we can be considered as a pocket museum. We are only open 10 hours a week. Our core staff of 7 people, 6 who work for Davenport Schools, 4 who are teacher librarians, are all volunteers. There's no paid staff. We have determined that we are one of maybe only a few museums in the country devoted to a school district. Most schools have their trophy cases, some historical artifacts, or halls of fame, but only representing that particular school. Our museum represents all Davenport schools. We use a museum-specific computer program to catalog and inventory our collection. We collect information on people, photos, articles, items they used or created, letters that were written. This could be on students and teachers. We have a sizable amount on Bix Beiderbecke and Phoebe Sudlow. She was the first female school superintendent of an urban district in the country back in the 1870s. And I don't believe we've had a woman superintendent since. We have a diploma signed by her and also diplomas signed by J.B. Young and Frank L. Smart. We have information on programs such as English as a Second Language, the Home Building, Teacher Training School, and a lot of old textbooks. We have a lot of building information, including the old original buildings. The district was organized in 1858. We have school registers from the 1860s and Davenport High yearbooks from the early 1900s. We have some documentation on district policies and procedures, including forms to be signed and old teacher contracts. We have information on groups and organizations such as the retired teachers, school PTAs, and student groups. And we have lots of artifacts regarding school activities, sports, music, theater, etc. And we have a lot of personal memorabilia. We have class rings, individual awards, letter jackets, spoons, scrapbooks, even a watch and a pair of shoes from a West High cheerleader. We give tours of our museum, including the display cases on 2nd and 3rd floors. I like to say that our museum is 3 stories high. We have individuals that just walk in, summer school groups, museum studies classes from St. Ambrose University, where we sometimes get student interns, and class reunion groups. Some come in just to visit, some come in on as a mission to maybe locate a photo from great-grandma's yearbook. Last year, we had a visit from a California movie director who was creating a short film on the Rock Island Civil War prison camp. She had heard about one of our students and wanted to verify information. That film was shown just last week at the Last Picture House Theater in downtown Davenport, and it was part of the Pulling Focus, the African American Film Festival of the Quad Cities, and our museum was listed in the credits. We also received telephone and email requests for information, which we research, work on, and do respond. Some of our recent projects have included moving to a new storeroom and gaining additional shelving, and that was a little unexpected. We added artifacts from Buchanan, Monroe, and Washington when they closed, including a plaque placed on the Washington Bell Tower. And I know TJ's not here, but let him know that I'm keeping an eye on that fence line where they're building Sudlow, and it's getting a little close to that bell tower. A huge project that was over a year in the making was the addition of 2 large display cases near Central Swimming Pool, highlighting Central swimmers. This was in conjunction with a Central Swimmer alumnus who spearheaded the donations for the cases and all the artifacts she obtained from former swimmers. I believe a 3rd case was recently added, so we'll be working on that. Some upcoming endeavors include representing the museum at the Archive Fair this fall, which we have done for the past several years. In July, the Midwest Museum Conference will be held in the Quad Cities. We will be a part of this, including a virtual tour that we're working on. We continue to update our displays, and we have a new display case to work on. We're looking at possibly hanging some quilts because, well, there's a lot of wall space on 2nd and 3rd floors. We have a web page and a very active Facebook page that volunteer Chris Sherman continually adds to. We are obtaining a smart board that we can roll out into the hallway to further highlight our collections. We are still a partner with what is now DARSPA, the Davenport Area Retired School Personnel Association, and they hold 8 luncheons a year. For the past several years and continuing, we have a display on a topic from the museum, an article in their newsletter, and I explain a little bit more about the topic during the business portion of the luncheon. And we continue to catalog our collection and new donations. We depend on donations as we don't purchase artifacts, although I don't think I'm going to live long enough to see everything cataloged. We are a member of the Iowa Museum Association, which sponsors this Iowa Museum Week. We have the opportunity to attend their conferences, classes, seminars, webinars, weekly Zoom meetings, and we can access their resources. Again, I want to thank you for this opportunity to tell you about our museum. We are quite proud of it, and to thank you for supporting us. I read some of the early letters, and it was a struggle in obtaining a museum location. Museums are an important part of our history and our culture, and our museum is truly unique. Thank you. Come and visit us. What I presented is only scratching the surface of our collection.
Thank you very much. Anybody have a question? Nope.
It's free admission. You can come.
Yeah. Director Barnes.
Do you have a copy of our superintendent's transcript from West High School? I'm kidding.
We can't keep transcripts. We don't have grades, although we do have some old grade reports that people have donated, but that gets into personal information since he's still alive. If I'm one of the display cases upstairs where we have some of the high school things, if you happen to be walking in the hallway, and he's done this to me a couple of times when we've taken people on tours, he's in a couple of the photographs, and he will come out of his office and say, let me take you down to the high school one, and I'll show you where I'm at. And I'm just going, yeah, okay. So he has done that to us.
Also, when I was down there, Kent Washington at one time had dark hair, and mine was very long. Go back. It's fun to go back through the yearbooks.
They were looking in their own yearbooks. Yes. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you very much. Next up, contracts with AEA for 90% of special education funding. Kevin.
Well, this is the presentation before the action item that's coming up before you. This is fresh off the presses from Wednesday when IASB did a presentation with the AEA about how AEAs are funded via special education going forward with the changes in the law. So on page 2 of that presentation, this is directly from their presentation, and I modified the last page. This contract that you're going to be approving does not have anything to do with the services the AEA is providing. It's simply the modality of how we pay the AEA. Historically, the AEA received the money directly from the state of Iowa. Now we're going to get the funds via state aid, and then we have to make 10 equal payments to the AEA. So this is a boilerplate contract that every school district is receiving, so that when we get our state aid, we get it on the 15th. If the 15th is not a business day, it's the following business day after. So by that date, we are supposed to have 1/10 of their flow through to them, which starts on September 15th. That's why when I say that we need to get through July and August, we don't have our state aid checks. So we are preparing to be able to get the money to the AEA by on or before the 15th of each month. So it's simply just that contract, that part of it. On the last page, they use this page as an example. So I put our actual numbers in there. The 90% special ed is what we're talking about. The $4.2 million that we are going to pay the AEA is what this contract is about. The other 10% is simply services that we are going to choose that we need for special education services. So we'll be hashing out the buckets of services that we'll be receiving from the AEA. Some districts will keep the 10% to defer other costs. We're choosing to buy services that we believe we need in special education. So that's kind of the breakdown of the actual costs. In fact, we got these official dollars on Monday of last week from the Department of Management. So that's very simply what's happening today. Any questions?
Director Beck?
So just for people who aren't up to date on special education money, so typically we have to go to the SBRC with a request for a special education deficit because we are legally obligated to pay for any services that students need. And so we have to request the authority if it goes over a certain amount. How does this factor into that?
It truly doesn't touch it at all. These are dollars that the AAA was receiving already, taken off the top of our state aid. The only thing that could go into that is that 10%, but we're choosing to spend that 10% on services that the AEA would have otherwise provided. So we're going to be very selective in the services that we purchase from them.
So the only difference here is that the money's not skipping us, it's going through us first.
Correct. In fact, one of the questions I asked is, how are we supposed to show it as an expenditure? Because it used to just say flow through and it always said other. I don't know if that's changing yet. They have not been able to answer that question just yet. So they're very much building the plane as they're flying it.
And can you explain why it's 90% and 10%?
It's just what they put in the code.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question? Director Hayes?
Kevin, can you give an example of like one of the services that we may purchase that we need?
Well, one of the things that every school struggles with is managing their IEP meetings and making sure that the services that a student deserves is delineated in the IEP. We are going to be asking the AEA to be a mediator and be on those IEP meetings with us, for us, to make sure students get the proper services and it's written the way it should be written. That's a biggie in a lot of districts.
Director Poston?
Kevin, and maybe you don't know this, but how do you think this is going to affect our special ed deficit?
I don't think it'll affect it at all. No.
Anybody else? Kevin, how fast does that money come to us? I mean, is it a monthly payment to us? Is it a quarterly payment?
It's a monthly for 10 months beginning September 15th.
No, I mean from the state sending it to us.
We get
on the 15th?
On the 15th or the first business day after the 15th each month.
Okay.
So next week will be our last payment of our FY25 state aid.
Okay.
So it will mirror state aid payments.
And is it always on time that we get those payments?
I would say always recent history, but 20 years ago,
well, 20 years ago,
there was months after months of delay, but that's a different conversation.
Okay, that's what I was kind of getting at. Director Hayes?
So we have the last one coming up, and then the first one will start again October?
September.
Okay, thanks.
And this is going to be set up just as an automatic thing, right? It's just going to go.
Yes.
You're not writing the check. Okay. Anybody else? Thank you. Appreciate you explaining all that. Next up is board reports. Anybody? Director Beck?
I just want to say that the McKinley playground was torn out today, which is super exciting to see. They did not wait long after school ended, and they the furniture for the next 3 elementary schools is in the process of being moved in, and I saw lots of volunteers out helping with those projects. So, yay!
Director Hayes?
I did the State of the City address, and I live on the bike path. They've been torn up for months, and I had no idea what was going on, and found out that they were putting in the sewer system to run businesses on the west end of town. So, there were a lot of good things going on in the city, but that was one thing that I was really excited to hear, because I had no idea what was going on back there.
Director Barnes?
Since the last meeting, and I know some of you also attended the Student Built Home open house, but that was incredibly impressive. Great to spend some time talking to the instructors as well, but the quality of work that our students are doing and the types of experiences that they're getting through that is incredibly impressive.
Thank you. Director Boston?
I also attended the Student Built Home and open house and scholarship presentation. And again, a house that wasn't the easiest to build, and I think it was a challenge, but they put it together and did a really nice job. And then I also attended the retiree breakfast.
June 2nd, yeah. I also did the Student Built Home. I'm impressed because I go to the first one when they are beginning and at the end to see what they have done, and it is amazing to think that our students are doing that. I went to the retirement breakfast. We had a couple of snafus and had to reschedule, and actually we found a really great place. People that came really seemed to enjoy it, and it was nice to be able to congratulate some of the retirees. We have now all gone through 5 graduations, and that was exciting, and a very long day last Sunday for 9.5 hours, but it is also an exciting time to see these graduates spread their wings and leave us. I also would like to send my condolences from the board to Dr. Sherman. He was like a sub-superintendent interim in 2004, 2006. Is that right, Brenda? I think it's around there. We were without a superintendent, and he was from Omaha. He came for a year, and we still didn't have a superintendent, and he agreed to stay another year. He lived over across the street on Brady at the St. Ambrose bed and breakfast at the time. Super nice guy. Yeah, we tried to talk him into staying, but that was not on his radar. So anyway, but my condolences. He passed away in November. So anybody else? And you guys aren't old enough to remember him, but yep. Open forum, any? Nope. All right. Next up, consent agenda. May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Madam President,
Director Hayes.
move the board accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions about any of this? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is the committee reports. Breaking barriers, Director Hayes.
None at this time, but I do need to speak to someone on the committee because I see a lot of the meetings that are canceled, but I'm not sure why that is, so I need to figure that out.
Like how much? I don't. how many committees do you have within this?
There's several of them, but the one with one particular individual, they usually come across as canceled. Are you familiar with that?
There are 3 subcommittees associated with breaking barriers, and I do think that there are a variety of those that don't always happen, but they have sort of pre-scheduled those meetings for particular times. So I don't know that the work isn't getting done. I think that the work of the Breaking Barriers Committee has been quite effective this year, but I do think that they have a lot of regularly scheduled meetings. The Breaking Barriers itself is on sort of a quarterly timetable, and then the subcommittees are meeting more frequently.
And like, who's in charge of the subcommittees then? Just somebody?
I'm sorry, different staff members that are.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Legislative advocacy?
The only thing I have is this: Governor Reynolds has signed some more bills that affect education. If you go to the IASB website, it will explain some of those bills that were signed and how it affects education.
Thank you. Elziak?
We have not met. We will not meet until the next school year, I believe.
Long range facility?
We will meet on Friday.
Policy, we met last week. We have policies to bring forward. Brenda and I are going to do a webinar on the laws that were just signed, how we need to address those in policy. That's coming up the 25th, I believe. Recognition committee. Well, the retirement breakfast was one, but we're kind of looking now towards next year. And finance.
We're meeting
next week.
Next week, right?
Thank you. Okay. Oops, moved too far. Director Barnes, would you please read all the policies that are up for action?
I'd be happy to.
Good. I'd like to have them kind of sing-songy like I did.
Madam President, I move to approve the following policies: 501.04, 502.03, 502.04, 502.08, 502.09, 502.11, 502.18, 502.22, 502.23, 502.24, 502.25, 502.26, 502.27, 502.28, 502.29, 506.06, and 507.08.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Anybody have a question about any of those? I like the little beat in it. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, preschool services agreement with Community Action of Eastern Iowa. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the preschool service agreement between DCSD and the Community Action of Eastern Iowa.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, the Cooperative 28E Agreement for Statewide Voluntary Preschool Program. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Beck?
I move the board approve the 28E agreements between Davenport Community School District and Statewide Voluntary Preschool Program Community Partner Sites as posted.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions about this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, Central Northwest High School Facilities Renovation Project. May
Madam-
I have
Madam President,
Director Poston?
move to award the Central North West High Facilities Renovation Project to the lowest responsive bidder, Bill Bruce Builders Incorporated, in the amount of $1,864,000.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions?
I asked Josh to just explain briefly what is all involved.
So at West, there's turf being put down behind the bleachers. There's a short wall being put up around the stairwell, up behind the bleachers of the gym, and some batting cages going in. At North, there's going to be some painting and graphics that take place, and the largest portion of the project is going to be the central field house. So there'll be locker rooms put in there, meeting rooms, turf put in, batting cages. There may be some weight equipment brought in. The outside of the facility is going to be fixed up. So around 5% of the project as a whole, if you add an HVAC, which is on the next item on the list here, is for probably North and Central, and about 95% of the remaining costs are for North and West, and the remaining costs are for Central. So 95% of the cost of this project are for Central. Does that make sense?
Director Barnes?
This kind of looks like a different list of responsive bidders, except we see Bill Bruce, who's doing a bunch of our capital. The fact that Bill Bruce Builders bid on this, but we don't see any of the other usual suspects. I mean, no Bush, no Russell, no Estes. Is this something that they have experience with? I mean, given the other three, and I guess another part of this question is, given that so many bids are going to Bill Bruce, are we not getting bids from some of the other local vendors any longer?
I don't know if they're not bidding it because of that. That very well could be. I know some of the folks you had mentioned were at the meeting that had this project in it, so they were there to see who was all bidding it. We had a high number of attendees attend the bids, so we're having good turnout. This dollar amount falls into a little bit smaller category for some of the larger companies, so they may just be opting to pass on it.
Thank you.
Wow, when you say $1.8 million is small.
Yep.
The field house currently used for storage, where are those items going to be long term?
So the building that's connected to the bus lot, if you drive by that location, there's a shed back there with a number of garage doors. A lot of the items from that building are going to move into there. So we're doing some touch-up work to that building, some new garage doors to insulate it, and we're going to put a little heater in there. A lot of the bigger items that are there are like snowplow trucks. We put those in that building during the wintertime so that the plow drivers don't have to go into an snow-covered truck to start plowing snows. That's also where we put the district-wide chairs. Remember, if you guys all remember approving those a few years ago, or if somebody wants to check out 100 chairs, those are stored in those facilities also. Yeah, so the majority of stuff goes there. The rest of the stuff we're kind of moving where it needs to go, but yeah.
You're already in the process of clearing that building out, though, right? I've driven by a couple times, and there's a whole load of people moving a whole lot of stuff.
It's a constant move, but yes, we are moving stuff out, yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is HVAC for high school facilities renovation. May I have a motion? Director Poston.
Move to award the renovations to athletic facilities for Central North and West High Schools project HVAC and controls to Train US Incorporated in the amount of $501,400.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Josh, you want to just explain this?
This is for the heating and air conditioning of the field house building. When you put locker rooms into a facility and it goes from like a warehouse space to a locker room facility, you want to properly vent the air so it smells better and the air changeover is good in the building. So that's a lot of what this cost is for.
And this was bid separately, right?
This is
Then?
a separate bid, but purchased through the Omnia contract for train. So,
Yep. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, contract for AEA for 90% of special education funding. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the contract for fiscal years 2026 to 2028 with Mississippi Bend Area Education Agency for the 90% transfer of special education funding.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We did discuss this earlier. Anybody have any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, discussion items, policies for board review. Anybody have a question about the policies? Okay, these will come up.
I have one question. So in the policy regarding service animals, miniature horses are discussed. At the facility accepting the miniature horse, the weight, do we have any information on which facilities would even be allowed, or maybe all of them are guaranteed to get a horse if a service animal is presented? Or are there any limitations to our facilities?
I don't think there's any limitations. We've never had this request, but this came from IASB, and we all looked at it and went, what? But, so we put it in there, but.
All right.
I mean, I guess if they could go upstairs, because if you're going to a lot of our schools, the horse is going to have to climb the stairs, because we don't all have elevators.
Yeah. That's all.
Director Barnes.
Director Ward, I might respond that this is one of the policies that we discussed, and we clearly think that the miniature horse, there must be some core precedent that has ISAB, or why they've included that example rather than a python, or whatever else might be included. And as we seek to try to align our policies as much with the organization as possible, we didn't feel initially like we should strike the miniature horse. So
yeah, I think the service animals, I mean, dogs and horses, I think service animals, emotional support's a different types, but I just didn't know if the facilities had limitations, like, these stairs don't bear the weight of a miniature horse versus a dog, but I was just curious.
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
I think part of the policy is that some prior notice should be provided to the buildings. So hopefully we could figure that out.
Oh, that would be interesting. Okay, any other questions? Director Beck.
Just to clarify, the part in yellow, we are, why was it in, we are not requiring or not including that language, correct? Oh, same policy, sorry. 105, assistance animals.
You highlighted it in kind of a.
It's the emotional support and therapy animals section, or emotional support animals, and it's optional because they're not commonly required to be accommodated. And I believe in our discussion we said that they were not ones that we would necessarily consider. And I thought we had chosen to leave that part out, but I'm happy to do whatever the board directs. If you want that left out as tonight's discussion, that's fine.
But the part that is also in yellow, employees' use of therapy animals as part of the educational environment, that needs to stay in there because we do have therapy dogs in schools. So we can't strike all of that out of there.
So employee use of therapy animals down through the subsection 1 through 5, leave and take out the gold and before that, right? Whoops. Correct. Okay.
So
Yep,
what's
I'll do that and bring it
what's
back
the
to next
consensus
meeting.
of the board? I mean, take out the emotional support animal and therapy animal, which is optional section.
I mean, it looks like in the yellow, the superintendent can evaluate the use of the emotional support animal on a case by case. I think that covers most things and always has the right to deny. And then if there is, I'm not sure what the reasoning was for eliminating it, but it looks like it's still case by case. And if it's going to be approved, it has to meet these guidelines. But I guess is your thought that we're not approving any emotional support animals for the students?
Generally speaking, we try and keep policies sort of short and covering sort of the things that we are doing. And this is generally not a practice that we, the therapy animals that staff have are covered. We do, that is part of our practice, but it's my understanding that this would be more of a, that those 2 paragraphs would be more of an administrative regulation.
Brenda, do you know, do we have emotional support animals and therapy animals besides what employees have? I mean, are there kids that are saying, I need this?
I don't. We talked about the one case at West High School at the policy committee meeting the other night. And that's one of the only ones that I'm actually aware of.
So this language would apply in that case. I mean, because this is just saying, you know, are they housebroken and vaccinated? I guess I'd like some parameters to, you know, we aren't just going to say to anybody, oh yeah, you can bring them in. What's everybody else think?
I think that this probably would benefit from some discussion with the superintendent. So perhaps we delay
take
this.
that part out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see where we might keep sort of the first paragraph or the second paragraph, but not the other parts necessarily either, because it kind of gives a definition. So yeah, I think that's a good call.
Anything else? Okay. Brenda, these are coming back for a vote next time, or we have to read one more time?
105 and 50205 are brand new. They require 2 readings.
Okay.
Tonight, next meeting, and then in July they'll come back for action.
Gotcha. Thank you. Next up. Wilson Office IMC RTU replacement. I love acronyms.
I'll explain.
Thank you.
So the RTU means rooftop unit, and IMC is like the library. So the library and office rooftop unit is failing. About the cost to fix it is about 1/3 of the cost of just buying a new one. So in this case, we would prefer just purchasing a new one and replacing what's there. If you order it now, it still will probably take us almost until fall to get it replaced. So hoping to have it this next fall, but not sure if we'll even get it done by then, even ordering it now. So that's the reality of it.
Questions?
Just curiosity, 23 years, that's the useful life, beyond the useful life for a unit like this, right at the useful life?
Generally speaking, 25-ish years is right at useful life.
Helpful, thank you.
And is it typical that we must have 2 units there? One that's just taking care of the IMC and office, and the other is taking care of...
The one unit can take care of multiple areas, actually. So.
But I mean, it's not taking care of the whole building.
No, nope. this building in particular will have more stuff coming for it down the road too. So we did a chiller replacement there a year ago. That went bad. This is a separate rooftop unit that needs to be replaced, and there are other things down the road that will have to get replaced as well.
So this is probably back when we added IMCs and offices and reconstruction and did that. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Anybody else?
Karen?
Director Boston.
So, how critical is it to get this ordered in order for it to be in place by fall when school starts?
I mean, we're pushing right at the time limit right now to get this done, so it's fairly critical.
I mean, can we vote on this now or not?
I don't think so.
Because I don't see what's going to change between now and the next meeting, but that's fine.
Right, Brenda, because we didn't put it as an action item? Or okay. Gotcha. Anybody else? Okay. Superintendent's report. Don't say no report.
None at this time. You knew that was coming.
I did. Administrative reports. I guess that would just be you, Josh. Got a report?
None at this time.
Board request. Nope. None at this time. Thank you. Board reflections. Director Barnes.
I really enjoyed the presentation tonight on the unified sports efforts, and am pleased to hear that that's expanding beyond west to north. And as we think about being a district that is serious about belonging and integration and trying to break down barriers and silos, that's a program really to hold up, and makes me really proud to be a member of the school board in this district. And I also want to say I really thoroughly enjoyed the presentation on the museum. What a gem. Would love to see if there are some place-based learning opportunities for students within the school district, though, too, with the museum, given its special nature.
Director Poston.
Just ditto.
Director Beck.
Ditto, but also I want to say I also really appreciated the spring athletics celebration as well, and really impressed with some of the performances we have. And to hear that, for example, the soccer program at North is growing so big that they had to have 2 JV teams, I think that's fantastic.
Director Ward.
Yeah, just echoing the sentiment on the museum presentation. Surprisingly interested in the uniqueness of that. Missed the open invitation this afternoon, but looking forward to getting down there sometime soon and digging through your old yearbook.
Got to figure out the year first.
Yeah, and then also excited to hear about the middle school. The numbers growing so much with the middle school athletic department. I think that builds a good core coming up through the high school systems as well. So,
Director Hayes.
Another ditto. I enjoyed the history of the museum, and I had no idea that Phoebe Sudlow was the only female superintendent that we had. I like the integration and the inclusivity for the unified program, and so glad to see that and give those students a feeling of belonging with the athletics department.
Kevin.
I'm gonna go a different direction.
Okay.
The preschool approvals of both preschool partners is incredible, because that's where everything begins for our students. Our preschool program has been growing, and we've been slowly growing it so that it can continue and stay strong. It's very exciting to see those. They're not a big piece into itself, but it may be the most important piece this district does.
I also was glad to hear about the Unified Champions and that it's expanded more to North. Hopefully Central will also become a part of that. That the middle school track is up 60. That's a lot of kids to add to it. You know that saying, if you build it, they will come. And apparently North Soccer is one of those things. We built the turf field and they ended up co-champions, and they are doing great things. And also the museum, I've been in there several times, so it is fun to go through and see all this stuff. So that being said, may I have a motion to adjourn? Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
7